I am the greatest.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
You won't do shit. Just stick and move. And just waking you up and saying, now stick and move. Keep your hands up.
Welcome to a new episode of the Stick and Move podcast. I'm your host, Trey, here with my co-host, Sam. And today we're talking about one of the greatest robberies of boxing history, or perhaps not. Depends how we break it down. In De La Hoya versus Pernell Whitaker. Now, Sam and I, we've talked about this bout a couple of times. He believes that Whitaker was robbed of this fight. And I told him I kind of see it the other way. So we finally took the time to watch this fight. It's been years, if not decades, since I've seen this fight. And, you know, maybe some things have changed a little bit since the last time I watched it, the last time I recall it. So before I put the post of Sam and I's card, we actually scored every single round. I want to ask you, Sam, leading up to this fight, you know, what do you recall about this era of boxing with De La Hoya coming up, Pernell Whitaker being the champ, and so on?
Yeah, between two gold medalists, bro.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, bro.
Yeah, between two gold medalists. I mean, dude, look at. I mean, back in the day, we were getting champion versus champion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We had tournaments. Mm-hmm. We had, mandatories, and not people, giving up their belts to move on to other weight classes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just a different era, and there was more dog in the fighters back in the day, in my opinion.
Let me ask you this, without giving away your card or telling me who won. Watching it now, decades later, what did you notice about this fight that was different from what you remember?
Okay,
without telling me who won.
Yeah, without telling you who won. Look, I've only seen this fight one time. What, 30 years ago when it happened?
Same here.
Yeah, and then I saw it again last night. That's when I scored. Dude, there was a lot that I missed, a lot I have forgotten. Yeah. But when I see the way Pernell Whitaker, I was looking at Pernell Whitaker, bro. His style, his way of thinking around the ring, how he used the ring, how De La Hoya's speed was completely underrated, bro. Mm-hmm. I did not know that Hoya was that fast.
Right.
That guy was a piston, bro. And going back to Whitaker, I said to myself, I don't care. I'm going to probably hear it in the comment section. Do you know what I said? I said this Pernell Whitaker would have given today's Bud Crawford problems.
You know what threw me off about this fight? You know why I remember, even though it's been almost over 30 years already since this
over
fight
30
happened?
Years ago. Mm-hmm.
I remember the reason why I remember De La Hoya winning this fight, in my opinion, when I watched it back then, was because I remember getting into a discussion with my cousin about who won this fight. He was a big Pernell Whitaker fan. I was a big Pernell Whitaker fan. It's already documented in our podcast history that at one point I thought De La Hoya was one of the most overrated boxers of all time, and you let me have it. The comments let me have it. And there were some people that told me that the comments, that I was actually right about that. But I have since retracted that opinion, especially after you and I watched and reviewed and did an episode. I'll post a link here on our description below when he fought Trinidad, which to me now that's a robbery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Going back to what I was saying, what threw me, so I was having this conversation with my cousin, and I remember we just spent the whole night. I was like, nah, De La Hoya won easy. And he was more on the draw side. He was more like it should have at least been a draw. Well, without giving away my card, and now that we rewatched it 30 years later, the one thing that threw me off, that I was like, I totally forgot that happened. I forgot how dirty of a fighter Pernell Whitaker was, bro. Or maybe it was just for this fight. I couldn't believe the length that he was going. I don't know if it was De La Hoya frustrating him. Even De La Hoya, you could tell he got frustrated and started leaning in with the head later on in that fight. So I was actually, for me, I was a little bit surprised about how dirty the bout was. You got any thoughts on that?
Look, man, look. You're talking about, dude. Pernell Whitaker is one of my top fighters of all time. In my
Oh yeah,
opinion.
same here, bro.
I was shocked, bro, how dirty Pernell Whitaker could be, man.
Yeah.
Also, in the
Yeah.
third round, there was he literally tried to get his thumb into De La Hoya's eye,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, he got
You
deducted
know,
for that.
yeah, he got deducted for that. It was just like, wow, he was
Mhm.
doing whatever he could to hurt De La Hoya, to hurt his pride, to hurt, to hurt his confidence,
Mhm.
and anyways, I don't want to give out the answer yet to what I thought, but yeah, I was surprised about that actually, and
Okay.
then keeping his composure through all that.
Right. Right. Okay. So let's just get right into it.
Mhm.
Let's not let the audience wait anymore. I'm gonna post the card up right now. Hey guys, Trey here. If you love today's controversial episode and you want to see our channel grow, please drop a like, subscribe, and also comment. Sam and I are always going back and forth with those commenters on our controversial topics and opinions, and we love it so much. So go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe, most importantly, so our channel can grow and we can give you guys the best content as possible. Sam and I were always uploading multiple videos a week, and we want to continue doing that, and we need your help. So go ahead and subscribe, guys. And most importantly, like I always say, don't forget to stick and move, baby. And okay, there we go. All right. So I had it for De La Hoya 115, 111. You had it, considering you had Whitaker winning
30
years
years
ago.
ago.
You had it De La Hoya 116, 112. So let's break it down. I've seen here, besides the first round, you and I going to the first to 4 rounds. Let's break it down by 4 rounds. I see that you and I pretty much had the same card, except for the first round, which to me, they were standing inside of with each other. It was more of a feel you kind of round. And I think that left hook that De La Hoya landed early on in that first round, to me, that was enough, especially with that late flurry towards the end of the round. That's why I gave the edge to De La Hoya that first round. But other than that, our cards are exactly the same, those first 4 rounds. What did you see those first 4 rounds?
No, I saw Pernell Whitaker trying to establish his footing in the middle of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And he had pretty much De La Hoya as the one that was backpedaling a little bit. But when I saw the third round with him trying to stick his thumb into De La Hoya's eye, I knew that Pernell Whitaker, what I felt was Pernell Whitaker was going to have issues in the long run with De La Hoya. Right. And he was trying to break De La Hoya's confidence.
Mm-hmm.
But they took the point. They took the point away from Whitaker, and I had De La Hoya keep standing his ground.
Mm-hmm.
And his jabs were going in, bro. Mm-hmm. They were going in, and they were getting connected. Mm-hmm. And that's when Whitaker, for me, was on the defense mode.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Besides that first round, and the dirty fighting already started that first round. Mm-hmm. With Whitaker leaning in with his head already, and it was pretty aggressive, to be honest with you. It almost looked like it was head bashing.
Yeah,
to the point.
Yeah.
But what I saw, same thing here. Those first 4 rounds, after that first round, De La Hoya, to me, started pushing the fight, and his punches. Yes, Whitaker was punching back. There were some parts of the early rounds where he was kind of like using the ring for space, kind of, I don't want to say dancing, but kind of jogging around the ring. He'll jab and then literally take 5 steps around the ring, and De La Hoya was just there running after him. And I think that his punches, De La Hoya's jabs and punches, were by far more effective, especially in that early part of the round. And I think that's where Pernell Whitaker was like, he found out early that this is a different kind of fight. Let me ask you a question. Throughout the, we haven't broken down the entire fight yet, but it started early. What did you think of him, like showboating a little bit, showing some showmanship, Pernell Whitaker. What were your thoughts on that?
He was trying to please somebody in the crowd. I think
Yeah, I
it was
felt
his
like
family.
that.
I
Right.
didn't like the headbutt that caused the cut under De La Hoya's eye, like in the first or second round. I don't remember.
Right.
I didn't like my impression was that he realized that De La Hoya was faster than him. You know what I'm saying? And he realized that De La Hoya had good reach, and he was getting caught. I think it was the third round that Pernell Whitaker already had a mouse under his eye.
Well, De La Hoya was hitting him with fantastic body punches.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
I don't normally associate De La Hoya with the body puncher. Never really have. To me, he's always been a pattering kind of jab artist, where it's more like a whip, where it goes quick, and the moment it hits you, you just feel like the little pop. It's not like a truck, like you're getting hit by Mike Tyson or Joe Frazier or any one of those kind of hook artists. But it was that body punch. When that body punch happened, Whitaker goes in with the gloves. Starts trying to poke his eye out with his thumb, with the thumb of the glove. So what do you call it? Thumbing, right?
Yeah.
And then even then, at the end of that round, boom, De La Hoya hits him with the clean uppercut, and that's when Whitaker gets that little the ball underneath his eye.
Yeah, the mouse
swelling up
eye.
a little bit. Yeah, a little mouse under his eye. So let's go ahead and move on to 5 through 8. Pretty much you and I were pretty close. I had the 5th round for Whitaker. You had it. Oh, I'm sorry. You and I had the same. The 7th round, you had it for. Let's see here. Yeah, our cards are kind of the same here. Actually, they are very much the same. 5 through 8. I'm just looking at it. Yeah, I mean, there was a point in this fight in those later rounds where De La Hoya was changing or controlling the fight. There's even a point in that 5th round, or I'm sorry, the 6th round, if I'm not mistaken, where De La Hoya goes to southpaw. What did you think of that?
Yeah, dude, that was beautiful, bro. It was beautiful, bro.
It was such an awkward stance. It's like usually when boxers switch, they come out of he did it almost in between.
Yeah, he did it in mid-fight, in mid-round, bro.
It was like right in the middle. I was like, what the heck is happening, bro?
Yeah, it was maybe like the last 20 seconds of the round. He decided to go southpaw, and it worked. And it confused Whitaker, in my opinion.
It reminded me, it had the opposite effect of me when Morales went southpaw against Pacquiao that last round and almost lost his life. When Morales was dominating the fight, he almost gave up the fight by going southpaw in that 12th round, if I'm not mistaken. But
I want to make a point, if I can.
Talk to me, bro.
I want to make a point, since we're having a conversation about this fight and De La Hoya and Pernell Whitaker. That is what I was trying to tell people about Errol Spence. I said an elite fighter can adapt. An elite fighter can make adjustments. And I used Barrera as an example, but now I can use De La Hoya. You see what De La Hoya did by going to southpaw, bro? He made adjustments in the fight, and that's the things that Spence couldn't do against Bud Crawford. And that's what separates elite fighters to just, regular boxers.
I brought this up earlier on our episodes when we first started this podcast. I remember a trend in boxing around the 2005 to 2012, 13 area, those years. And I remember when there was a big matchup happening. And one of the things that became very predictable, but for some freaking reason, the opposite boxer was just not prepared. And I remember, like, this is hearsay, of course. I remember saying, like, when I would talk boxing leading up to that big fight, I remember telling my friends and you and stuff like that, I'm like, bro, I could guarantee you one of these guys is going to fight southpaw. Or if they're southpaw, they're going to go orthodox just to throw off the opponent. And it was like a big trend. They don't really do it anymore. Crawford's really the only one I know that switches back and forth. And he has that great ability. I think he's a natural left-hander, but he fights orthodox and he can fight lefty as well. But anyways, I remember that being a trend, bro. And it goes to what you're saying. Like I said, I apologize for calling De La Hoya overrated. I feel bad because when I label my top 3 overrated, our episode top 3 most overrated boxers, that's one of our most watched episodes. So people just are going to think no matter what, I think De La Hoya is overrated. But seeing the way he adapted to the fight, because you got to remember, bro, you got to remember, there was a part where Whitaker in that 5th round literally runs around the ring. And I think De La Hoya at that point realized, okay, not only is he running around the ring, but even earlier in the fight, there was a flurry that De La Hoya throws, and he misses like 5 or 6 shots in a row.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And Pernell Whitaker is doing the whole like, whoa, where are you throwing?
Yeah.
And I think De La Hoya was like, okay, I need to change it up. I need to make game time adjustments. And to me, that's why I regret having him on that overrated list. And to me, that's why he is the golden boy. He is. You cannot tell the story of boxing without him. He is one of the all-time greats. Go ahead.
Yeah, bro. And I want to apologize for thinking that De La Hoya lost his fight. I mean, it was 30 years ago, guys. Forgive me. And dude, when I saw this fight last night, dude, I was so impressed with De La Hoya's speed, bro. His adjusting of stance, his calmness, bro. Pernell Whitaker had Ronnie Shields and Lou Duva.
Yeah, he had a phenomenal corner. Phenomenal
corner, bro. And there was something that I saw in the fight through those rounds that I think Pernell realized, bro, that it was going to be a long night. He could, that reach of De La Hoya, the reach and calmness of De La Hoya got him the victory, man. Since we're talking about 6 and 8 or 5 and 8 rounds, that knockdown of De La Hoya in the 8th round was not a knockdown. But I had it.
Oh, you don't think so?
No, their feet got tangled.
Actually, that was the 9th round. So let's just finish the last 4 rounds.
Okay.
So you got to remember, bro, that 8th round ended with De La Hoya with great counter shots onto Pernell Whitaker, actually wobbling Pernell Whitaker. Going into that 9th round.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Going into that 9th round, you see the aggressiveness that De La Hoya kind of I think he smelled blood. He saw it on Whitaker's face, and he was going to try to end this fight early, or at the very least, put it in the books that De La Hoya won. And he did go down. I'm kind of on the fence, 50-50 if he went down or not. I could see why, but at the same time, what I saw, if I'm going to say De La Hoya did not go down, I kind of saw Whitaker like push him down a little bit, and De La Hoya, of course, went down. His gloves went down after that. So you don't think he went down? Talk to me.
No, because I saw the replay, and there was a way that Pernell Whitaker walked in. He put one leg between De La Hoya's legs, and they got tangled up, and that's when De La Hoya touched the floor with his glove. But it was not, in my opinion at least, a punch that caused a knockdown. I think it was, let's say, both. Okay. It was the tanglement of the legs and the punch at the same time.
Well, let's talk about that real quickly. Mills Lane. Well, I mean, it threw me back to Mills Lane as the referee here, and when De La Hoya went down, you could see the hesitation on Mills Lane. Like, did he go down? And I think the crowd's reaction kind of milked or pulled in Mills Lane to say yes, it was a knockdown. I think the reaction from Pernell Whitaker's corner, and I think Mills Lane saw that, and he's like, okay, it's a knockdown. So I could see where he was kind of pressured onto doing that, you know. But if we go on to the other fights, I mean, look, you got, let's see here. Yeah, pretty much our cards are almost the same. Wow. Uh, yeah, we pretty much almost had the same score. You
What'd
you
you get
by
in the
one.
last round?
I gave it 10-9 De La Hoya,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I think De La Hoya stole that fight, and it's just so interesting because my biggest criticism for him was the way he would always fade. I kind
Mm-hmm.
of verbed it. I kind of verbed uh doing a De La Hoya, like where boxers would take the last rounds for granted and just, not take it as seriously or run around the ring. And De La Hoya did the opposite, bro. I mean, I noticed on your card that you had a 10-10 round on the 11th. What did you see in
Uh-huh.
that round?
I think that they both had a piece of that round. I
Mm-hmm.
think there was moments that Pernell Whitaker, you know, he knew that he was behind. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
his corner told him, and he got him, and I just couldn't fully give it to him because Eloya finished that round.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to that last round, I remember even the commentary saying, this whole fight can be judged on this last round right here.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
for me, in that 12th round, De La Hoya won 10-9, bro.
Right.
He closed it. He sealed that fight with that last round.
Right. And we're breaking down each other's card. I'm looking at my notes here, trying to see, anything I missed that was worth noting. And look, I want to ask you a question. De La Hoya was a young, up and coming boxer. It was a few years after he was starting to establish himself as a main boxer. How much of a risk was it for De La Hoya to take on a champion like Pernell Whitaker? And as we know, at the time, considered the greatest defensive fighter. Now lately he's top two, top three, top five, maybe. But how much of a risk was it for De La Hoya to go against a legend, already legend in Pernell Whitaker?
Dude, he believed in himself.
Yeah.
The risk was super high. This could have changed the outcome of his whole career, bro.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Losing to Whitaker. I
Right.
mean, it was confidence. It was having guts, and
Mm-hmm.
it was having, you know, um, you have the whole country behind you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a golden boy, bro. I mean, he had people from Mexico and here from the United States. Everybody rooting for him, and it was a huge risk, and
Mm-hmm.
he took it, and it paid off, bro.
Let me ask you this. We talked about the showmanship, the I guess the showboating that Pernell Whitaker was doing in the ring against De La Hoya. Why was he doing that against him? And when he fought Cesar Chavez, he was more serious. I don't even think Pernell Whitaker danced at all or shimmied his shoulders at all one time against Chavez. Why did you think he took Chavez more seriously versus De La
I
Hoya?
I think he respected Chavez more of a legend.
Okay.
And Eloya mostly just a
Kid.
like today's Ryan Garcia, you know what I mean? Just a pretty face to and that was it. And so and I saw and I noticed in that fight that Pernell Whitaker was what I told myself watching the fight was, hey, forget about the crowd, bro. He kept reacting to the audience. Pernell Whitaker.
Well, that's what I want to ask you next. That's what I want to ask you. Was the showboating more? Was it effective in your opinion, or was it more like a deterrent?
I think it was a deterrent.
Yeah,
I think it was a deterrent. If he would take his craft, if he would not have worried about what the crowd's reaction was or is, I mean, he'd be a more dangerous, more focused fighter in that fight against De La Hoya. But I do want to make a statement. I think that if Pernell Whitaker, if we had him today in his prime, bro, if we had Pernell Whitaker in his prime today, he'd be a top 3 pound per pound fighter right now. He'd give almost everybody problems, bro.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's how great, I saw Whitaker in this fight.
What I noticed, because I've been watching a lot more Whitaker fights, especially after he passed away a few years ago. R.I.P. Of course. Rest in peace, of course. There's always a comparison, bro. We've done it on our podcast. There's always a comparison. What's the difference between his defense versus Floyd Mayweather's defense? And besides Pernell Whitaker being more of an aggressive fighter, especially versus Mayweather, when he was more money Floyd versus pretty boy. What I noticed more about the difference between them two, bro, is that Floyd, in my opinion, his offense was also part of his defense in the sense that he was a marksman with his jabs. He was the marksman with his counters. To me, the greatest counter puncher of all time. Maybe not in the sense of knockout power, but he just knew he had enough power to hold off any boxer, even with that counter punch jab that Floyd Mayweather had. It was enough to put enough sting for no boxer just to obliterate his guard and just start wailing on him. That you and I think the Four Kings from the 80s would probably do. That's the difference I see. I actually think Pernell Whitaker's, because he has such a wide stance as a lefty, it was so hard to hit him that he had control over it. But I think his jabs were, I'll put it this way. If Floyd Mayweather's jabs and counter punching was an A+, I think in comparison to Pernell Whitaker, it's probably like a good solid B to B+. That to me is a big difference. And that's why I think Mayweather, is considered the GOAT of those welterweight, super welterweight, lightweight divisions, So that's what I get from that. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, look, you're comparing them to the greatest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? One of the greatest of all times. One of the greatest of all times. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's why I'm saying you throw a prime Pernell Whitaker in today's boxing right now, bro, he's a serious problem, bro. He's a champion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's a champion. He'd give anybody problems.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
So let's go back to what you started this whole thing off. You think he would have given Crawford or Errol Spence a problem? Talk to me.
Yeah. I think that his style would be a beautiful matchup against Crawford. I'm not saying he could necessarily win. I'm just saying his style would give Crawford a lot of problems. And definitely that style, that defense of the way Pernell Whitaker uses his body movement, his ankles, his legs to crouch down. He would have given Errol Spence tons of problems, bro.
Wow.
And it just by the sheer defense. He's a difficult fighter, and in today's standards, I hate to say it, but Pernell Whitaker would be avoided.
Wow.
Yeah, he'd be avoided.
especially being a natural southpaw boxer.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you have any final words about this episode before we sign off?
To the audience, well, for the fight, it was one of the greatest fights I've seen. It was awesome. I hadn't seen it in over 30 years. I'm glad I got to see it. It was like the first time ever. Just so excited, so impressed how the quality of these fighters that we had back in the day, bro.
Yeah.
How, anyways. But for our audience, I'd like to thank everybody, for liking, subscribing, and commenting on our channel, and help us grow and continue watching our channel. If there's anything y'all want us to talk about or any fighters, we'll research and make an episode.
Absolutely, my man. So we will leave it at that, guys. Just exactly what Sam said. We're trying to get back to our commenters on our podcast. We love every single one of you guys. We appreciate you guys spreading the word about every one of our episodes. Native Wild Man, we appreciate you and the attention you guys give us. Other than that, if you get a message from Sam, it's Stick and Move Sam75. You get a message from me, it's at the Stick and Move Podcast. I'm your host, Trey, here with my co-host, Sam, and we're signing off. Until next time, don't forget to stick and move, baby.
I am the greatest.
I wish I was